So what's it like there compared to other Super Bowls? I mean, everyone likes it when it's in New Orleans. But is it? You were at Media Day, like a big star.
Yeah, I only went to half of it.
How dare you? You were blown away.
Good for you. You escaped.
Yeah, the setup was not like what I was looking for. I'll put it that way. It was just, I mean, and you guys know this. You guys have been there. It's not for us. It's not for us. You know what I mean? It's for the NFL to put those things on camera and make it look like it's a big deal and sell tickets to the event and all of that different stuff. So
you can ask nutty questions.
That's long ago. That ship has sailed long ago. I've given up trying to turn that into something other than me saying hello to a few people and going on my merry way.
Well, if you ever wonder how the press is treated, the press room is located where at the Superdome?
In the parking garage.
Yeah, they just shoved them in the parking garage.
It's an older building, Fred. They got to make do.
So yeah,
there was no newspaper, or television, or radio back then.
Nope.
Yeah, so we were jammed in the parking garage, which was that was something, and then. So when you go out on the field, and you guys know like what a cluster it is out, on the field or sometimes the basketball court where they are or whatever. Well, for one reason or another, they fenced off the entire field at the Superdome, so everyone was jammed into the sidelines and the little area behind the end zones, and that was it. So you had all of those. The whole carnival is just it's just shoved into the sidelines, and for. Like, again, no reason in particular, the entire field is fenced off.
You got to protect that turf. I mean, you can't be trampling all over it.
Yeah, except for the fact that you put a massive stage on the 50-yard line. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I mean, yeah, and you got smoke bombs and fireworks going off of it. Wow, that sucks. That Media Day sucks. It's
like
no fun.
one of my least favorite things. It's just, again, like I've given up on it because – it doesn't really serve a purpose for us. You know what I mean?
And you nailed it, Bert. It is for, the fans who are able to attend. It's the one time.
I don't know why a fan would go there, though.
So they can be in the same room with the players at one point before the actual game.
You have headphones, too, where you can listen to
But they're not allowed on the field.
Yeah, those press conferences are super interesting.
No, I'm not saying this is a joyful occasion, but you're asking why fans would go for the first time. You sit there and you don't know how boring it is until you just click over.
I do try to understand that a little bit better. Like, I think one reason why, I guess, if you're a fan, if you wanted to go in and see what a Super Bowl stadium looks like and you're not going to the game, then maybe it would make some sense. But, I mean, it's, again, like, it's one of these things the NFL does to try to create an event, like, out of thin air. And there's a lot of awkwardness to it. I would put it that way.
Okay, so they asked Goodell about the 18-game season, and so there's two things that were interesting that he talked about. The 18-game season. When does that happen?
I think it's a good question.
And then when's the Super Bowl?
So the opt-out, I don't have it in front of me, but the opt-out in the broadcast deals is probably, I think it's 2029. So whenever the opt-out is, my guess would be they would want to do it ahead of that so they can plan for reconfiguring the schedule and creating new sort of television packages to sell off of it. So they go to 18 games, for example. I think one thing they would try to do is have 16 international games every year. So essentially every team in the league would play an international game every year. You'd give up a home game once every 2 years. And then you can sell that package, because a lot of those games are at 9:30 in the morning. So,
did the owners like that? Did they even mind missing the gate for the international game?
They like the television money that comes with it.
That's more important than the gate, like the international.
Yeah, I mean, okay. I don't think they all. I mean, over the years, they've all kind of. There have been teams that have fought against giving up a home game, for sure, and there were. I think. It's either the Steelers or Packers hadn't given up one until recently. Cowboys, same thing. Cowboys may still not have given up one, but now they're.
You got 100,000 seat stadium, and everyone's buying beer.
Right, but now, now they have to. Like there's a rule in place now that I think it's once every 4 years you have to give up one, which makes it so they can play 8 games every year internationally. And I think that eventually goes to 16, and then they sell that as a separate television entity, a separate television deal. I mean, that's a huge part of what this is. And then I think the other thing is they eventually do want to put a team over there. Now, the travel logistics have sort of prevented them from doing that. But that ultimately is the goal. Is like how can we put a game over? How can we put a team over there permanently? Which of course, is another way to create more revenue. They've been pretty aggressive about expanding the game.
They need to get Elon Musk on it. You find some rocket ship.
5 seconds.
I wonder how much.
I mean, that honestly, like that's the funny thing about it is like when they first started the international series in 2007, their goal was to put a team in London by 2022. It was a 15-year plan, and like air travel is the reason why they haven't been able to do it, because logistically it would be too hard. And it's not even like the regular season games. It's like if that team makes the playoffs, how do you schedule that? You know what I mean? How do you, if that London team plays Seattle, say, was that like an 11-hour flight? You know what I mean?
Probably more,
Yeah, so like you create all kinds of logistical issues with planning and everything else.
I hope they're not depending too much on teams being able to sell team-sponsored packages and trips that include the flight, the game, and the hotel, because I've seen the price tags on some of those things, and once people do it, it's not like you're going to be doing that every single year, and that's going to become something you would do normally. I can't imagine it would be.
Yeah, I don't think that's really it. I mean, they're more focused on, again, like
the
just
TV.
I think the TV, and then also like getting fans over there into it. Like the Jaguars, for example, have really, I mean, which Shad's owns a soccer team over there, and like they've really tried to make it so like they have some sort of fan base over there. And they were thought of as a team that if it wasn't going to be expansion, that could eventually move over there. And they're playing 2 games a year over there now, So, I think it's the way the NFL looks at it is, and this is why they're I don't think they'll ever expand again domestically, is because what you would need to do for those guys to agree to grow to expand domestically is to if you go to 34 teams, you have to grow it by that percentage at least, and then add some, right? There's got to be some financial benefit for the other teams to doing that. And again, like domestically, I think that's really hard. Internationally, you can see where that could happen, where, if you're putting teams in London or, somewhere in Germany, like then there is
why Germany
that sort of
wants it.
financial benefit.
You get a football game in Germany, you forget about all that pesky Hitler stuff.
Oh, it's sports washing?
It's sports washing, absolutely.
Yeah, 80 years.
I see your plan, Germany.
Yeah.
I see what you're doing. I don't forgive you. All right, go ahead, Jonathan.
I'm just wondering, Bert, the NFL continues to push the envelope. They want a team overseas. They want 18 games. They want this, that, and the other thing. Do you think there's ever going to be a limit? Is there a line? Because it seems like if you expand as much as the NFL wants to, you kind of lose the core of what you started with.
Yeah, I felt forever like one of the NFL's greatest strengths, advantages, whatever you want to call it, is the scarcity of the product, is that you don't get a ton of it. It's not on every night.
Yeah.
So, like, you really value it when you do get it. I think we all, like all of us here at least, we all, followed all the sports growing up. I feel like as an adult, it's almost work following baseball. You know what I mean? And basketball and hockey can feel that way too, where there's so much to keep up with. Football's easier to follow than the other sports because there's less of it, And I think, we're sort of an ADD generation, our generation, right, guys? Like, the generation below us is like so much further.
Good luck getting them reading a book.
Yeah,
right.
They're like, what's this thing?
Right. So, like, if you're looking at where, like, the American public is and like that, the fact that you're not asking somebody for the commitment where they have to watch 3 or 4 nights a week, or in the case of baseball, like every night for 6 months.
Well, you
I think
say
it's a huge
3 or 4
advantage they
nights a
have.
week, Bert, but there are games Thursdays, there are games Mondays, Sundays, Saturdays, and now the season is headed towards Valentine's Day and beyond. It just seems like it's not so scarce
Yeah, I'm
anymore.
worried about them like screwing up my ski trip every year. So,
Okay. Well,
no, I look. It is. I don't know how much further they can go without infringing on that, but it seems like everything they sort of put in front of everybody, even if it's a bad product, like I think like some of the midweek stuff was really rough at first, and teams have sort of adapted to it, and it does make me wonder like where that line is, because here's the thing is, like, I think what the American public has shown us is all you really have to do is put football on TV. You know what I mean? Like, there's no like, oh well, that's too crappy a product for people to watch. Like, people bitch about with Mahomes and the penalties. People bitch and moan like sun up to sundown on that stuff, right? Like, and this product is getting really bad. You know what they're doing the next Sunday? They're tuning right back in.
Yeah.
You know, so like, I don't. That's the thing is like I think just putting football on TV, I think they figured out like it doesn't even need to be a great product. And so as teams were, adapting to playing in the middle of the week and what they did this year with Christmas, it's like even if those games aren't very good, people will still tune in and watch them.
Yeah, especially if you put them on Peacock.
And the NFL will get attention. The NFL will get attention from conversation about how bad it was.
Sure.
You know what I mean? Like, it's like,
people are paying
that Jerry
attention.
Jones thing?
Yeah.
Is it that Jerry Jones thing? It's like, where, like all publicity is good publicity. You know what I mean? Like, and it does feel like even if it weakens the product, even if it makes it more difficult on the players, even if it shortens careers, even if it's hard to watch at times, even if the game is so lawyered up that like there are times when it's painful to see the way it's being officiated. Like what the public has shown us, like America loves football. I mean, and the NFL is number one in this country, and it's not close. And college football right now is number two. And I think college football, I think it's like there's like a gap now between college football and Major League Baseball and NBA and NHL. And I think it's a tribute to America's obsession with the sport, and it almost doesn't matter what form of the sport you put on television, people will watch.
All right.
If you like that clip, and how could you not? Check out more videos from Toucher and Hardy here. Point slightly up and to the left. For more Patriots analysis and opinion, hit this playlist. Point slightly down and to the left. And for the latest from the Sports Hub, download at 985thesportshub.com.